Hi, I'm Grandmaster Ray Such, and welcome to the Dojo. I'm a Grandmaster in Taekwondo and Hapkido, which is hard style, and I know earlier we have mentioned hard style and soft style. Hard style is basically Japanese, Korean, Ishinryu, that is a straight direct hit, straight direct hard block. Whereas the Chinese and some of their styles are a fluent movement or soft style, redirecting. I just wanted to clear that up for future shows where we mention hard style or soft style. Recently, we had an opportunity to attend the Circle of Masters, which was held here in Cleveland, Ohio. This is where masters from all over the country converge on Cleveland, and in the hotel and the different facilities, they run seminars all weekend long. So our crew, Christina, myself, we were there attending. We got some great interviews, and then we got film footage of their seminars, which we'll be having on the next couple of shows. So that was an exciting thing to have that many masters and grandmasters at one time to cover their different styles, different approaches on seminars. On this episode, we're going to feature one particular school. It's owned by John Barton from Erie, Pennsylvania, and it is called King Cobra Karate. Recently, he's turned the school over to his daughter, which we're going to have an interview with her also. She's an undefeated black belt female fighter, which is very interesting, and I want to make sure you stick around to see that. But John also runs some major tournaments in Erie, Pennsylvania, which we're going to be attending this year to get more footage on the free fighting, form competition, and things like that. So right now, let's hear from John Barton.
This is Christina Michelle with the Dojo, and right now we're here at the International Circle of Masters, and I'm talking with Hanchi John Barton. Thank you for joining us.
And thank you for having me.
If you want to start off, just tell us what style you are and the name of your school.
It's an Aikijitsu style called Lu Sabatsu Gaku, and it's a system that I learned in Erie, Pennsylvania, and my school is King Cobra Karate.
And can you tell us a little bit more about your style, and is it a hard style, soft style, what?
The system of karate I teach is a hard style karate, but in Aikijitsu, that's a little bit different because it's similar to, in all Aikijitsu styles, there's no hard and soft, it's the same.
Okay, so you kind of mix the two together? Or?
I do in my school and teachings for self-defense purposes.
And how long have you been an instructor?
I've had my school for 38 years. I've been an instructor for 44 years.
And how long have you been in the martial arts?
50 years.
And what got you interested in it? Was it looking for self-defense and, defending yourself? Were you just more interested in the discipline of the martial arts? What got you involved?
When I started martial arts, nobody even knew what it was. They'd never seen it before. It was before Bruce Lee. I started in 1963. I just was going to the boys club one day and I heard some noises coming out of the building next door. I went to investigate, and it was Master Artist Simmons teaching karate.
And it just kind of stuck with you? Well,
I decided to join, and I guess here I am today, 50 years later, still doing it.
Now, today at the International Circle of Masters, you just finished your seminar. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you were teaching?
Yes, I taught, I started off with some basic wrist rolls to just kind of get them acclimated to the system. And then I finished up with 3 other techniques which were a little bit more involved, but they seemed to pick up real good on it and enjoyed it.
So you think you had a pretty good interest from the students?
Yes, the response was tremendous. The thirst for knowledge was absolutely awesome.
Now, can you tell us a little bit more about your school and, what ages do you teach and what's a day like at your school?
Well, we teach children 5 years old, and there's no limit on how old. I've started the school, I founded it in 1976, but 5 years ago I gave it to my daughter and son-in-law, and it's now in its second generation. And we're a family martial arts training center.
So you have families that enroll together? Or?
Absolutely.
And
we enjoy that.
What is your biggest focus with your students?
The respect, the honor, and discipline that's involved in martial arts. We keep it traditional, and we still teach the Japanese terminology and everything as well.
Now, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and, what rank you are and some of your accomplishments in the martial arts?
Yeah, so I'm 10th degree black belt. I just achieved that last December. I got my black belt September 1st, 1969, so I've been a black belt for 44 years. I'm also a 9th degree black belt in Aikido, and I just love martial arts, and I don't see quitting doing this in the near future.
And what does the martial arts mean to you?
It's my life. It's everything that I stand for right now, because that's what I dedicated my life to do.
That's great. And what would be your biggest piece of advice for someone that's just starting out in the martial arts, whether it's a new student at your school or just one of the viewers who's interested in it? What would be some of your advice on starting out?
It doesn't come quick. You must stay involved and give it time, and it'll be the best thing that ever happened to you.
That's great. Is there anything else you'd like to add about yourself, your style, anything?
No, just that I'm glad that it's something that I've done. I didn't expect to end up like this.
All right, great. And is there a website where we can find out more about you? Are you online anywhere?
Yes, I am. www.kingcobrakarate.com.
All right, great. Thank you for talking with us.
And thank you.
Keep watching, and we'll be right back with more on the dojo.
Admit it. You're the one who killed him. You seduced him, gained his confidence. And then when he wasn't looking, you reached into your purse, and without conscience or remorse, you pulled out a gun and shot him. And cut. Curious? Visit theindygathering.com, a film festival, and so much more.
In today's world, there is an absolute need to know how to protect yourself. But who has the time or money for lengthy training sessions with techniques you may not remember in a time of need, or which can wind up putting you in even more danger? With Escape and Survive, you will learn effective, easy-to-remember techniques for getting out of dangerous situations. No complicated moves, no expensive, time-consuming training, just common sense self-defense. Book your seminar today at escapeandsurvive.com.
Cleveland Academy for Self-Defense is Northeast Ohio's premier martial arts school. Located on Cleveland's near west side, we teach several martial arts disciplines, specializing in Taekwondo and Hapkido. As taught by Master Ray Such, students of Cleveland Academy learn discipline, formal martial arts training, and real-world self-defense techniques. Classes are available for children and adults. Cleveland Academy for Self-Defense, the home of champions.
Welcome back. Next clips we're going to have are actually from John Barton's seminar on self-defense. A lot of, the hand twists, control movements, takedowns, things like that. In my particular art, it would be in the Hapkido portion. Many of the other styles have different variations. When you get away from your hitting and kicking, You do have your applied controlling techniques, and just about every style has its controlling techniques, most of which are picked up by the instructors themselves over a variety of styles, techniques, but used in self-defense. These tend to be the things that you use every day to get out of trouble situations. Like for myself, I have the Escape and Survive series. So these techniques are controlling techniques, takedown techniques, basically general self-defense techniques. So let's take a look at this seminar.
Put them together and look like this. Yeah, that's an efficient. 1, 2, 3 steps. Just add one more step. Again, it would look like this. 1, 2. You squeeze until you get out. If I got that, which part? Let him try it. circle, grab them fingers, bring them right towards you. Very, very painful. Right, grab.
Let's go back again. Rewind again. Well, that 500 years ago.
Barton. Who wants to go? Who wants to see this first? Lift them up like a rising block. Step in. Same side, same side. All you do is get those hard. Yeah, you should be trapping everything. Thumb, all the things. You don't want to put your finger and thumb in here. Why don't you want to do that? Why don't you want to do this? See how you have to keep that first going straight. I'm going to stand here. The more this, closer to this here, the more leverage you have. The more comes through. Have it on there. Okay, good. Right? Grab the ice blocks and there it is. You're right on the money.
Great techniques we can use almost every day. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you a filmmaker looking for the location of your next project? Contact the North Coast Film Commission. With small cities throughout Ohio, we're here to help with your film, television, and commercial productions. With low to no cost permits and locations, we'll help stretch your budget. From our production resources to our talent database, we will show you just what the North Coast has to offer. Visit northcoastfilmcommission.com today.
Welcome back to the dojo. I'm Grandmaster Ray Such. Now we've heard from John Barton. Now we're going to hear from his daughter, Hilary. He's turned the school over to her. She's an undefeated fighting black belt. She has some great records, national and international competition. Touches my heart because back in the 70s, I had basically about the top 4 or 5 females in the area. And my heart goes with the matter of fact, I had the first female to fight in men's division at S. Henry Cho's international tournament in Madison Square Garden. And unfortunately, she won 5 bouts in a row and then was disqualified due to excessive contact to the body. And she actually was quite delighted with that title as opposed to winning it all. So we're going to hear from Hilary now, and let's hear a little bit about her accomplishments.
This is Christina Michelle with the Dojo here at the International Circle of Masters. And right now I'm talking with Hilary Weston of King Cobra Karate. Thanks for joining us, Hilary.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So if you want to start off, just tell us a little bit more about who you are in the martial arts.
My name's Hilary Weston. I have been doing martial arts since I was about 13 months old. I started, and I was raised in the dojo, and I took over our school, King Cobra Karate, from my father, Grandmaster John Barton, about 4 years ago. And I've been competing on a national level for 15 years, and I have 14 consecutive national fighting titles and 48 total with the forms and weapons and everything.
Wow, that's great. And how long have you been undefeated now?
I have been an undefeated fighter for about 3.5 years. And then this year my husband and I decided to have babies, so
So taking some time off
taking
from
a little
it?
break, but I'll be back.
And what is your school like? We talked with your dad a little bit about the style and everything, but tell us a little bit about your teaching style.
My teaching style, I mean, we really focus on everything. We're very well-rounded, and we're one of those schools that likes to take a little from each style that we learn and mesh it into our system. I don't believe that one single style is the best style, and I try to be as well-rounded as I can and open-minded so I can pass on more to our students. And personally, my favorite thing to do is spar, obviously, so sparring is just my number one thing that I enjoy coaching and passing on my advice to our students and fellow competitors that we have.
And what rank are you?
I just earned my 5th degree black belt last December.
So you're a master?
Yes.
That's great. And has sparring always been the big thing for you? I mean, is that, you
Yes.
said you have one in forms and that, but...
Yeah, I have several titles in the other aspects of martial arts, but sparring has always been my passion. My first tournament was when I was 6 years old, and when it came to kata, I cried my eyes out because I didn't want to compete, and as soon as they called fighting, I was the first one to the line because I was ready. So it's always been my passion.
Now, I'm sure since you started so young, was it something that you did want to do, or did your father just want to get you into it to see how you did with it?
Of course, he wanted to get me into it, but he never really forced me to go. I kind of played around with it for years, and then when I was about 11 years old...
You took it seriously?
Yeah, I took it seriously. It really kicked in, and ever since then, I've kind of been non-stop, so...
And with being an undefeated fighter for so long now, do you have any advice to some of our viewers, whether they're just getting started out in the martial arts or they've been doing it for years? What would be some of your advice as far as tournament fighting?
As far as tournaments go, never let anything stop you or shut you down. If you lose, learn from it, move on, and next time come back harder, because if you put that mental wall up, then you'll never get past it. You're your own worst enemy. So really it's just about making goals and just going step by step and moving on past each one.
Now, do you compete open against other styles, or do you like to mainly compete against karate fighters?
No, actually, most tournaments that I compete in are all open, and I compete against multiple styles from all over the country.
Would you say there's any styles that are a little more difficult to fight, or you're used to it now? In the beginning, was there any, maybe someone kicked more and you weren't used to that, or?
Not really. I think after a while you start to learn to adjust your
the
fighting,
fighter.
accordingly to the fighter. You have to kind of read them and see how they fight, and you can't be, one trick pony. You have to have an arsenal behind you.
And what does the martial arts mean to you?
Martial arts is my life. If I didn't have it, I'd probably be a hot mess because, it just helps with your focus. It helps with your stress levels. Martial arts just, for me, it's my biggest thing in life. If I didn't have it, I don't know where I'd be.
Now, was it an easy transition for you from going from a student and instructor to running a school? Was it difficult?
Not really, because I grew up there and I watched my father do it for many, many years. Like I said, I started right after I turned 1. So, I took my first steps and then I was kicking a couple months later, and I watched him run the dojo for so many years that it kind of just came naturally, because I was always around that environment. So, it wasn't too difficult of a transition.
And are you hoping you have a little fighter on the way?
He kicks enough as it is, so I think I do have a little fighter on the way.
And you'll nudge him into it, the
definitely.
family line?
Yeah, my husband is a black belt as well. That's how we met. And so with 2 parents and grandparents in it, then he probably really doesn't have much of a choice. No.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add about yourself or your school?
Not really. I'm really proud of our school. We've been open for I think 38 years now. And just for one school to last that long and go through the generations and have as many students that we've had come through and be champions and work so hard, I'm just really proud to be the owner of King Cobra.
That's great. And you have a website where we can find your school?
Yep, www.kingcobrakarate.com. And we have a Facebook page also, which is King Cobra Karate.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break now, so keep watching.
You two have disrupted my classroom for the last time.
What are you going to do about it? Spank us?
She can't spank us. It's against the law.
Spanking would be too easy. I'm going to cause more permanent damage.
And cut. Curious? Visit theindiegathering.com, a film festival, and so much more.
In today's world, there is an absolute need to know how to protect yourself. But who has the time or money for lengthy training sessions with techniques you may not remember in a time of need, or which can wind up putting you in even more danger? With Escape and Survive, you will learn effective, easy to remember techniques for getting out of dangerous situations. No complicated moves, no expensive, time-consuming training, just common sense self-defense. Book your seminar today at escapeandsurvive.com.
Cleveland Academy for Self-Defense is Northeast Ohio's premier martial arts school. Located on Cleveland's near west side, we teach several martial arts disciplines, specializing in Taekwondo and Hapkido. As taught by Master Ray Such, students of Cleveland Academy learn discipline, formal martial arts training, and real-world self-defense techniques. Classes are available for children and adults. Cleveland Academy for Self-Defense, the home of champions.
Welcome back. Our next segment is In the Ring. When you're in the ring, everything in your favor is knowledge. We're going to cover different things in the ring, and this one today is called a scissors block. The most common kick thrown in the beginning of a fight is a roundhouse kick. So I will show you on a scissors block how you can beat the roundhouse and counterattack immediately. Now, here we go to the segment, In the Ring. One way to be a top fighter is the ability to block. A lot of people start training in the martial arts and they get into free fighting and they're consumed with what they're doing to the other opponent. In reality, if your guards and your blocks are set up and functioning at a high degree, the individual in front of you cannot score, giving you the time to score. Okay, so you've got to understand there are a lot of things to do with blocks, such as when I start watching, up in the bleachers and I'm watching my students and I'm watching their opponents and I'm watching people sparring, especially at a lower rank, you'll notice that when somebody leads with a kick, the other person will back up and block at the same time. If you back up, you don't have to block. If you block, you don't have to back up. So you've got to understand that sometimes just because you want to do something is not the best thing to do. So other things such as your guard. Neutrally a guard is basically going to be up and around in this area. This front hand covers my head, both sides. It can drop down in the elbow, and that's another thing about blocking. So many people do side kicks to the ribs, and the individual will go to block the side kick when all it is a drop of the elbow to stop the side kick. Anything in at this body. And remember, kicks are directional. Front kick, side kicks, roundhouse, crescent kicks, coming to the side of the body. So your blocks are a little different. But one, practice with lower ranks on dropping your elbow to stop a side kick from coming in. And then you start timing a little bit of a drop in the elbow and a lead in on the kick. You time it just right, you knock the opponent off balance, and then you can blitz with your hands in that. But basically the one block that I want to do today is called a scissors block. And a lot of times when you block at an object coming at you. So you have to put your hand in a particular height. Well, a scissors block is a universal block for a roundhouse, and many of the fighters will bow, fighting stance, sija, or anjame. They begin to fight. That fighter will lead off with a roundhouse just until they start getting comfortable. Roundhouse, one of the most common kicks that are used. So if they lead off with a roundhouse, instead of just trying to block low, it might come up high, or to block high with a hand, it might come in low. A scissors block is your best bet. A scissors block is not something you aim. Scissors block is pointing down here, and you're going to point 1 foot 12 inches to the side of your foot. So basically you're talking about, I'm pointing right to this area right here. Okay? So when I take my backhand and point, and that's exactly what I'm doing, I'm taking my finger and snapping it to where I always point. The other hand is coming in to be hit right inside the elbow right here. So this hand points a foot away from my foot, and that hand goes right into my arm to let my arm stop it. So there's actually no aiming of it. But now you can see that you are set up in about a 3-foot block on the side of your body, all the way to your face. Your hands are stiff and tense. So when that foot comes around, they work together. 1 foot away from the, 12 inches away to the side of your foot, and right to the inside of your elbow. So bringing that roundhouse around slowly now, dropping that automatically closes your entire side. Okay, one more time, bring it around. Bang. It also gives you a jam into the leg. It can also give you a snapping back fist with the front hand. So when it comes around, the second you stop it, you leave your base hand and you go for the back fist. Easy point. On the street and in self-defense, you can actually lift the leg, holding the leg up, and drill him with a punch. So if he comes around here with the scissors block and you lock the leg, you now have the body to go in and score on the street. I wouldn't do that in sport competition. I want to explain to you that once you have that spot set, this spot set at the same time without even thinking, it's automatic for you. Now we're going to go into the speed of the roundhouse. My hands are usually set here. He comes around with a faster roundhouse, and it's blocked. I have my hands farther apart. He comes around fast. It's blocked. I have my hands now behind me. He comes around, go. It's blocked. I have my hands now faster. My hands in my pockets. He come around. It's blocked. There's no way you cannot stop the roundhouse. Okay, and again, one of the most common kicks. And again, we put the back fist with it, lead hand. Because a lot of fighters will block for the sake of blocking. The second your hand blocks anything is the red light to attack. Too many people put that hesitation in between the block and the attack, giving your opponent that split second to counterattack you. So anytime you're working on your block, automatically time again and try to use a strike. Okay, so here again, on the back fist, he comes around fast, boom, bang, back fist is there. Okay, you also, on the street, can lock the leg, drive it in there, drop his leg, his base leg for a slam down on the street. There's a lot of different things you can do, but the scissors block is a universal block. And again, pointing 12 inches to the side of your front foot and snapping your arm into the base arm that's pointing. And there is no aiming again. A little bit more, a little faster, let's go. And I had my fingers locked. It just cannot be penetrated. Let's summarize this up. Don't block for the sake of blocking. The second you block, score. Sort of combinations together. Remember, the hardest time to block is when you are attacking. Okay, so work a little bit on that. And again, lower ranks are great for this. You don't have to worry about being dominated in the fight. We call it play fighting. You can learn more in a play fighting than you can in a strenuous who's getting a point type thing. Okay? And again, the scissors block is universal. Just bang, snapping that to the right point, pointing to the right point, and you're locked, ready to go with the front hand. And yes, you can even go here and drill down with a punch. I like the back fist. The back fist is instantaneous again. One, you block and back up, doesn't work. If you're going to back up, you don't need to block. If you block, you don't need to back up. Again, a lot of times, if he's going to bring that hand, take that hand right there to a punch, straight to my ribs. Dropping the elbow is sufficient. Okay? If he were to do a side kick, which we won't do right now, but if he was to do a side kick, dropping it, and you close up, and then going in and pressing in. Again, blocking is essential to a top fighter. Do not put all your stress on attacking. Easy points when they attack you. That's our little tidbit for In the Ring. And please, keep watching and we'll be right back.
Are you a filmmaker looking for the location of your next project? Contact the North Coast Film Commission. With small cities throughout Ohio, we're here to help with your film, television, and commercial productions. With low to no cost permits and locations, we'll help stretch your budget. From our production resources to our talent database, we will show you just what the North Coast has to offer. Visit northcoastfilmcommission.com today.
Our next segment is close to heart. It's called A Minute of Self-Defense. We're going to have Christina Michelle show you some of the techniques where a female can get out of attack situations with only using common sense. No kicking, no striking, just from pressure points to releasing of grips. And today she's going to be pinned up against a wall, which happens, in bars, crowded parties, where the male tends to just have his hands up circling the female against a wall. And let's see how Christina handles this.
Hi, I'm Christina Michelle. This is common sense self-defense. And using your common sense, your freedom is the first issue. First key element. You're going to take your left hand and casually bring it up to the side of his arm, placing it on the inside of his elbow. Second key element. You're going to take your other hand, bringing your fingertips to his cheek. The third element, you're going to pull inward on his elbow while rotating his head, using his jaw, into the wall. We are not viciously attacking, kicking, striking, causing a fight back. So what you do is execute the technique, obtain your freedom, and flee, and get help.
I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself and some of my students. You know, the world today, there are so many different types of tournaments. My students have won every major tournament in the United States, from S. Henry Cho's International Madison Square Garden to the U.S. Open to the Bluegrass to the Diamond Nationals to Ed Parker's Long Beach, California's tournaments. Basically, all of these are 3 points. You get into the ring, bow, fighting stance, begin. It's who tags who 3 times first. And each time you have a tag, you have a stop, break. Judges award points. Continue. So some of the best fighters in the point business was some of my students, one of which, Daryl Tyler. Daryl Tyler was back in the early 70s. A couple of weeks after he made his black belt, he went to the USKA Grand Nationals, which was done by Grandmaster Trias, and it was held in Miami Beach. He won the Grand Nationals there, and that was just after 2 weeks of his black belt. He continued winning grand champions for the next couple of months until he told me he had joined the armed forces, which was a crushing blow. He went on, joined the Army, still active in the Army today, and now he's close to around 50 years old. Just wound up winning, at 50, winning the Battle of Atlanta. So he's still going. But when he was in the armed forces, he was the heavyweight champion of the armed forces and had an opportunity to fight with Bill Wallace in Germany, a 5-round exhibition bout. And by the wording of the Stars and Stripes of the services, it was a pretty heavy fight for being a non-title bout. So, you know, these type individuals, you've seen Speedy before. These students I traveled all over the country with. We've taken Greyhound buses from Cleveland to San Francisco. We've taken truckloads, van loads of kids to and adults to the AAU Nationals, which we attended in 1974, which was the first AAU Nationals in Connecticut at Yale University. I went on to become the coach of the United States AAU Taekwondo team, which was the Olympic team in '78. And we went on to Seoul, Korea to fight at Kukkiwon for the World Taekwondo Championships in '78. One of my young ladies won a silver medal in the world, another won a bronze medal in the world. One of the young ladies that I coached on the U.S. team took the first gold medal away from Korea. So you got to understand that point fighting is a love of mine. And when you really stop and think about it, it's not a tough man contest, it's a mental contest. Who tags who first and how? If you're on the street and you nail your opponent first, you're going to have a few seconds before you can nail them again because they're stunned. So really, 3-point fighting, to me, represents reality in fighting. Not I can take more than you, but I'm smarter than you. I'm quicker and more skilled than you. So 3-point tournaments, you're going to see more and more on our show. And coming in more episodes, we'll be going to different tournaments. And we'll really talk out the process of point fighting. Point fighting is right in the middle of the arts. 90% of your schools are involved with point fighting. On the other hand, you have things like MMA, which is the full contact. You have full contact karate. You have kickboxing. So there are variations, but point fighting allows light to medium contact. And we'll see more in episodes. So I want to thank you for being with us this show, and I hope and sincerely you'll tune in for our next show. So I like to say some of the families out there that are taking martial arts, a family who kicks together sticks together. But we'll see you on the next show.